The 1920s have long been remembered as the Roaring Twenties, an era of unprecedented affluence, best remembered through the cultural artifacts created by its new mass consumption economy. A Ford Model T in every driveway, Ella Fitzgerald on the radio, and the first talking motion pictures at the cinema. Baseball hero Babe Ruth in the ballpark, and celebrity pilot Charles Lindbergh on the front page of every newspaper. As the soaring stock market minted millionaires by the thousands, young Americans in the nation's teen cities rejected traditional social mores by embracing a modern urban culture of freedom. Drinking illegally in speakeasies, dancing provocatively to the Charleston, and listening to the sexy rhythms of jazz music.
The entrenched image of the 1920s as a sort of nationwide decade-long party, a la The Movable Feast, enjoyed by Jay Gatsby and Daisy Buchanan, F. Scott Fitzgerald's fictional character, who remains the iconic figure of the age, obscures a very different reality for many Americans. The Roaring Twenties left nearly half the country behind.
What was the Prohibition?
The Prohibition was a nationwide constitutional ban of the sale, production, importation, and transportation of alcohol beverages that remained in place from 1920 to 1933 in the United States.
Why did the Prohibition cause corruption?
Prohibition caused corruption because politicians and cops began purchasing alcohol when it was banned and took bribes.
Why was Prohibition criminal?
Prohibition was criminal because people began breaking the rules and finding other ways to get alcohol, like going to speakeasies.
Why was Prohibition an unhealthy move?
Prohibition was a non-healthy move because people made their own alcohol that was much stronger than manufactured alcohol, which caused people who heavily drank to get cirrhosis of the liver.
What is an overcoming event?
An overcoming event is when a group of people resolve a problem.
And lastly, why was the Prohibition considered to not be an overcoming event?
Prohibition was not an overcoming event because it started out to end crime and corruption, and instead it made crime and corruption increase.
Warren Harding was the 29th President of the United States. Harding won the presidential election of 1920 in a landslide by promising a return to normalcy after World War I. Harding's administration ended up plagued by corruption and scandals. The Teapot Dome scandal took place during Harding's presidency and was an incident that took place from 1921 to 1924. Calvin Coolidge easily won the presidential election of 1924 and became the 30th president. Coolidge was most famous for declaring that the business of America is business. The result was Coolidge prosperity and half a decade of robust economic growth and widespread affluence. Coolidge retired to civilian life in 1928, leaving the White House to self-made millionaire Herbert Hoover. Who are some of the biggest names of the jazz age?
Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, and Charlie Parker.
Who invented jazz?
It's said that a New Orleans barber by the name of Buddy Bolden played the first jazz music in 1981.
What was significant about the Harlem Renaissance?
It marked the first time that mainstream publishers and critics took African American literature seriously.
What was a major accomplishment of the Harlem Renaissance?
To get people to abandon their racist thoughts.
What was the impact of the flapper on the 1920s society?
She changed the social norms of women and changed the woman's image.
Why did the older generation not approve of the flapper?
They believed the flapper was going against everything they worked so hard for. They also didn't like how the flappers used slang.
How did the automobile change American society?
The automobile made it possible to travel many miles in one day and united people, making them more accessible.